endocannabinoids, this is the short name for endogenous cannabinoids. Cannabinoid is a compound which acts on two receptors. One receptor is found mainly in the brain, the other receptor is found mainly in the periphery. But surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, during certain diseases, the second receptor, which is not present in the brain, starts to pop up. All of a sudden it's available there. So the suggestion was by us, by many others, that actually this receptor, which is not found in the brain, the CB2 receptor is a protective, is part of a protective mechanism. I mean, we have protective systems in our body. The immune system is a protective system. It guards us against microbes and viruses, things like that. And if we didn't have an immune system, we'll be dead within a week, probably eaten up by microbes. Well, but we have the immune system and it guards us. But not everything, not all attacks on us are by things like microbes or viruses, like proteins. There are other things, breaking a bone or having a head smashed or something like that. These are major things. Well, actually, the body has developed protective systems of this type, and indeed the endocannabinoids are part of this protective system, acting through the CB2 receptor, probably also through the CB1 receptor, but through the CB2 receptor, most definitely. And we have seen, for example, in brain trauma, that both the CB1 and the CB2 receptors start working overtime, trying to reduce the damage that has been caused by a head injury. We have seen, and I've submitted a paper now, that osteoporosis is reduced. The damage of osteoporosis, the actual osteoporosis itself, is reduced by the endogenous cannabinoids. The endocannabinoid system seems to work. It's not the only one, but it seems to work there. And not very surprisingly, we have found that additional compounds, which actually don't bind to the cannabinoid receptors, but are very close chemically to these endogenous cannabinoids, these compounds, which we call endocannabinoid-like compounds, a strange word, but anyway, these compounds act on osteoporosis. We have mice that under certain conditions can develop osteoporosis, and we see that their bones show osteoporotic features. We see that if we give these compounds, whether it is an endocannabinoid like 2-AG, or whether it's those endocannabinoid-like compounds which we found, they improve the situation, they improve the osteoporosis. Now, this is not so surprising. If one goes back and looks at what's going on in the Mediterranean countries, for example, there is less osteoporosis than in Northern Europe. And according to some Greek statistics, if you like to read Greek statistics before you go to bed and sleep, according to Greek statistics, this is due to olive oil. And all the people in the Mediterranean use olive oil. Now, olive oil contains oleic acid, and the compound which acts on osteoporosis is a derivative of oleic acid. It is an endocannabinoid-like compound. So this is what's happening with bones. We have a lot of other indications that the action of the CB2 receptor is mainly a protective action. So we have protective action in brain injury, we have protective action in bones, we have protective action in a lot of inflammatory conditions, and we have looked at rheumatoid arthritis, for example. It is a very powerful. These compounds are very powerful in certain inflammatory conditions. Now, an inflammatory condition, in rheumatoid arthritis, for example, it's an autoimmune disease. The immune system attacks the body itself. I mean, the immune system is normally supposed to be there to attack proteins that come from the outside, but sometimes it doesn't know what it's doing and attacks our own proteins, our own body. Now we found that the endocannabinoid system protects us